Breaking news as we start Outnumbered right now. We are looking at Woodbridge, Virginia, and this happened just moments ago. We're going to pick up our coverage here. There were pipe bombs that were planted almost 5 years ago now outside the RNC and DNC headquarters near the U.S. Capitol complex. At the time, no one knew what that was about. Both political parties. So would that be political? Who knew at this point? Now, all these years later, it'll be 5 years next month, they have picked up a suspect in this. And the house that you see at the center of your screen, and maybe just a little bit to the right, is a car that they're also looking at. These are the federal authorities who are in that cul-de-sac in Woodbridge, Virginia, looking for evidence. And they've been coming and going from the car that we could see with stuff that they're bringing out to that sort of collection zone that they've made. Don't know yet what the evacuation order would be for the neighborhood. Haven't been able to gather that kind of information. It's worth getting, as they will. And my guest last hour, Paul Morrow, of course, former NYPD and attorney, Fox News contributor, was saying, look, they may want to talk with other people right there, but right now they're focused on this house. One of the things that we know that they may be looking at or looking for are further evidences or devices, pipe bomb making devices, materials, that sort of thing, making sure that the house is not booby-trapped. So this is a huge job, and we don't have control over this live aerial picture right now, but if and when they pull out, you'll see how big the federal agency response has been to this and law enforcement. There are many, many people there. The suspect, Brian Cole Jr., early 30s. We don't know a lot, but in the next little while, we've been told to expect the first live news conference that we will have gotten on this case in quite some time. We also know from reporting last hour with Clay Travis, who was on with me, saying that he had recently talked to the FBI director, Kash Patel, and had been told there were a couple of things that would pop in the next few days. This popped today. We're going to dig in and watch this live scene. I'm Harris Faulkner, here with my co-host, Kayleigh McEnany. Also joining us today, Carly Shimkus, Fox and Friends first co-host, Lisa Booth, Fox News political analyst, and Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor. Kayleigh, I come to you first as we gather more information on this. So far, again, we don't know exactly what they've gathered so far, but we know the goals are to keep that area safe, looking for booby traps, any sort of devices in the house and in the vehicle.
That's right. And Brian Cole is the name a source texted me as well, confirming the Fox News reporting we have, early 30s, as you noted. This is interesting, and it's long awaited because for years people have been wanting details of this case, and it confounded a lot of people why we weren't getting details, because it is very difficult to evade authorities. You think about the killer of Charlie Kirk, alleged assassin Tyler Robinson, and it took just a few days. It is very rare for someone to get away for years and years and years, but they think they found this guy, and I wonder if it had anything to do with his shoes. We don't yet know, but the FBI put out a memo, and they said that he had distinctive Nike Air Max Speed Turf shoes, which are black and gray with yellow Nike logos. There are fewer than 25,000 pairs of these shoes that were sold over a 3-year period. So it's these little granular details in the video they're looking at. Maybe one of these details was the breakthrough. Maybe it was a tip.
Yeah, well, and the tip was worth $500,000. That was the reward in this case. And again, we don't want to speculate on how they got to this point. But the fact about the shoes, that's a fact in the case, potentially evidence in that. Let's watch now, if we can, in the center of your screen, and we might even pull it out live. You can see where they are now going up to this house. So they've left the car at the curb, they've gone through that, and now, and they've got the dogs out. So that makes sense for them to want to make sure that there are no devices or anything there. Now, here's also, Ari, what we don't know. Is there anybody in the house? Is there anybody who may have known that this was coming? A lot that we don't know. That news conference is going to tie up so much. Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing I want to know that we don't know is what was his motive and who was he connected to, if anybody? How far does this go? How deep does this go? Is he a deranged lone attacker that tried to set off these pipe bombs and he failed because he didn't have the technical background? Or was he acting on behalf of somebody, a foreign country, a cause inside the United States? All of this is what we have to look forward to when the FBI speaks today. I presume they're going to know those facts and be able to speak to them. But as always with the shooter of President Trump, What's the motive, and are they connected to anybody is essential, because that tells us if there's a lot more to it than just a crazed lone person acting violently.
You know, as we watch the scene, one of the things we also don't have right now is sound because of the distance, obviously, of the cameras. So, you know, if they are evacuating this neighborhood, what that would look like, because now they've surrounded this house and we're able to see this from our aerial capture of this live. So, you know, Carly, many times when we're covering breaking news like this, well, the dog is showing some activity, but again, we don't want to speculate.
Yeah, we certainly don't. It is really interesting to see this home that we're looking at right now. Woodbridge is a suburb of Washington, D.C., about 20 miles outside the city. It looks like a beautiful home, and you do not know what the political motive was here, considering the fact that these pipe bombs were placed outside both RNC and DNC headquarters. This was a huge deal at the time of this taking place, and it led to a lot of speculation in the aftermath of January 6th over whether or not this was a conspiracy. But I remember Kamala Harris at the time had to be evacuated from the location that she was in. And now we're learning that he is in his early 30s right now, which would have put him at around, mid-20s 5 years ago when this took place, an age where oftentimes you get young males who are deep into the resources or the recesses of the internet. And could that have inspired something that would just be purely anti-government in nature? We don't know, but these are the details that everybody's going to want to find out when this press conference does happen. The fact that this reward for information was up to $500,000 proves how much of a priority this case was for Kash Patel. And this is a huge win for the FBI that this is taking place right now.
Yeah, it also may point to this. Paul Morrow told me last hour, the specificity of whatever his skills were at pipe bomb making. He said that's not like a usual thing. He said, yeah, you can go on the internet and make some things. He said, but from what they found, and we don't know all the details of what they found, but I think what you're saying, that $500,000 for reward money may also speak to how lethal potentially.
Yeah, and Harris, just really quickly on that, I was reading before, these pipe bombs were 1 by 8 inch pipes, kitchen timers, and homemade black powder. And I think that one of the reasons the FBI was so focused on this case is because they knew that this person who had the capability to make these bombs was still out there. So every single day that this person wasn't caught, could he do it again?
Well, hence, has he been in this house the whole time? We don't know. And was he there earlier? Is he there now? I mean, we would think that probably nobody would be in the house because we might see something like them pulling someone out at this point. But again, we don't know. What we do know now, though, is that they're treating that zone, that perimeter, with respect in terms of vetting and making sure there's no collateral damage from anything that may be there. I want to get this in. Over the years, we mentioned those nearly 5 years of conducting an investigation, 1,000 interviews, reviews of 40,000, nearly 40,000 video files. They looked at homes and businesses as well as all of those buildings, people that they talked with, all of that. That's a lot. And again, your question, a good one, Kaylee. Lisa, was it a tip? Was it one of those, did they just get a break late in the case? Did they find something new?
Well, how did it take nearly 5 years to find this guy? Particularly when you look at the amount of resources that the Biden administration, the Biden DOJ, and the FBI put towards January 6th. I mean, they arrested and or charged over 1,500 people. They were able to find, a grandmother or grandfather who spent 2 seconds inside of the Capitol, but you can't find the guy who laid the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC. So that, to me, just raises questions about why they were not able to find that.
Let me just pause you for a second. Do you, the team in the booth, have the captures of him on video, and you can see he's completely covered from when this happened? I mean, part of the investigation, Lisa, at the very beginning is that they had nothing to work with.
Well, my question
in terms of what they could see or trace. But go ahead.
But my question is,
there he is, bottom right.
Did the DOJ and the FBI under the Biden administration, did they put their priorities and the emphasis on the wrong things, right? Like finding people for political reasons, to drive up numbers, to exploit, to make January 6th a bigger deal. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a great day. We'll all admit that. We've all said that it wasn't a good day. But did they drive up those numbers for political purposes, for a talking point, while missing the main person and one of the biggest people they should have been trying to find, which is the person who laid a pipe bomb, which was a viable pipe bomb, we've learned. So did they misplace their priorities and the time and the attention away from, bigger issues and real things to go after, grandmother and grandfather? Also, House Republicans put out a report in early 2025 laying out some of the issues with the way that investigators approached the pipe bomb investigation, not securing the perimeter, a variety of issues that took place there. So obviously, we have a lot of questions. We need answers. This is a great day to get this individual, but we've got a lot to learn.
Those are important questions, especially in the culture that we're in, that is including the assassination and assassination attempts, and I should say more than one assassination. That National Guardsman, Becky, Sarah Beckstrom. So as we look at this, we know that pipe bombs were planted outside both the RNC and DNC headquarters nearly 5 years ago. And this investigation now has been popped wide open. And the next short little while, we'll have a news conference. We'll get an update on all of this. And I think, Ari, you started us off with some fantastic questions that we'd have at this point. I don't think you can look at this and not mention the word terrorism. We don't know yet how it applies, but within a perimeter of Washington, D.C., 20 to 35 miles out, you've got this house. They're looking at this. The crime happened within the D.C. metro. That makes it federal. So I'm thinking what your thoughts are. You were stationed in the White House.
Well, by definition, this is terrorism. I mean, when you plant pipe bombs outside the two political parties, this is a terrorist act. You're trying to kill, destroy, depending on how strong those pipe bombs were, as many people as possible. But again, I go back to what's fundamentally on my mind is the connections. Was he acting alone? Was this supposed to be a diversion from other things that were happening on January 6th? Was this tied to the protest of January 6th? Or was it totally independent as a sole deranged person? That's what I want to hear at a news conference.
Yeah, at least I come back to you because that's almost a follow-up.
Yeah, and hopefully we get some answers, too. I mean, look, the American people have been begging for transparency in all of this since January 6th. It was a huge talking point for the left heading into that midterm election, as well as even heading into the 2024 presidential election. Americans just deserve the truth, honesty, transparency. So I hope we get that in this press conference, laying out everything they know, telling the truth to the American people. But it's a good day that this individual, that he's been caught.
Well, I go back to what Clay Travis told me last hour, founder of Outkick and also an attorney. He had just interviewed in recent days the FBI director, Kash Patel. And he said that Kash Patel told him that there were going to be a few things popping off, opening up in terms of investigations. And this would appear to be one of those things. We are watching the breaking news in Woodbridge, Virginia, as federal agents have descended on a cul-de-sac, a very beautiful bucolic area outside of D.C., where they say this is the home of the pipe bomb suspect, Brian Cole Jr., in his early 30s. Don't know how long he's been living in that home. Don't know if he's been there the entire time since the pipe bombings of nearly 5 years ago, or if this is a new residence for him. But they are treating it with forensic respect and making sure that there are no explosive devices or bomb-making materials that could be that. So as we watch this scene, we'll take a quick break and come back with the breaking news. Stay close.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.